This episode is ad-free on the Patreon. So if you want to partake in that, you can head on over to patreon.com/reality tea times two. Welcome to Reality Tea Times 2, the podcast where we discuss all the trash reality TV we love to hate. I'm Tanika, and today we're going to be discussing Sneaky Links. Now, this was one that I should have finished during Christmas time, but did not. And I did say we were going to finish it before Perfect Match started, but then Perfect Match started before I could finish it. But we're still going to finish it and then move on to Perfect Match with obviously some 90 days sprinkled in there. Um, so yeah, let's just jump in. We're doing 3 episodes, 4, 5, and 6 in this episode. And the next episode will be 7, 8, 9, and then we'll be ending it off with 10 alongside a 90-day episode. So that's what we're going to be doing. That's kind of what you can expect the next few days into next week. And then after that, we'll start with Perfect Match. Let's just jump in. Episode 4. So this is where we kind of left off with, again, if you want the refresher, the episode for the first episode for this, which covered, I think, 1 to 3, was done in December. So if you want to listen to that, I'll link it in the show notes. So in case you want a refresher. But so yeah, this had to do with Nicole V complaining about Logan. So that's kind of where we were at, which I do remember pissed me off. She pissed me off. Let's continue. Anyway, she just goes to, I believe it was Manny, and complains to him about her conversation with Logan. She's like, I need someone that is a little bit more put together. I still don't understand what that means and why she thinks Manny is the one that's put together. And she said it makes me want to be better. And he thinks that, that's shallow of me. So sue me. The thing is, it's not that it's shallow. It's okay to have that expectation of a man that you're going to be with. The problem is that you're just assuming because he's a, surfer boy or whatever, that he isn't put together or that he doesn't have ambition or like whatever. You're putting him down in the process of setting an expectation that you want for someone. So it's a lot. So actually, no, it wasn't Manny, it was Brandon, my bad. She's talking to Brandon and she does have a preconceived notion about Brandon because of Nicole S. Now, Nicole S is his sneaky link, but she also doesn't see a spark with him, but she's trying to figure it out. So she's not sure yet. So at the spicy sweet, now if I remember the spicy sweet, Colt and Angelique, because they were kind of the first solidified couple. Kind of really the only one that kind of happens throughout these episodes, spoiler alert, but they're in the spicy sweet. The only time we see the spicy sweet, spoiler alert. And, well, then again, I'm not done it yet. I'm only on episode 8, so I still have a couple more episodes to go. So who knows? Maybe this spicy sweet will pop up at the end. Who knows? But they had sex, and he does not care about the other girls at this point. Hold on to that. So Manny is talking to Avery, and now he's like all about Avery because he was about Nicole V, which is why I thought it was Manny that she was talking to. But now he's all about Avery. To me, personally, this man has no clue what the hell he wants. Okay? She thinks that he is the type of person who picks one person he is into and focuses on them. Mm, mm, maybe, maybe not. Anyway, Travis loves spending time with Zoe 101. I mean, one-on-one. Do you get it? You get what I did there? So we won. Oh, anyways, so Manny and Nicole V are talking, and she tells him that Logan and I are no more, that that's done. So now he's like, that was the biggest roadblock for him was Logan. And he's like, I mean, you are my strongest connection. Wait one damn minute. Because wasn't it just 2 seconds ago, my guy? You were literally saying that Avery is like the one you're focused on. And now you're being like to Nicole V, oh, you're my strongest connection. What? This is going to bite him in the ass. Brandon and Nicole S are talking, and he's telling her that, you should explore other connections. It's fine. Um, he says, you say that I'm a fixer-upper, so you should have someone that has it all together. And that's the thing. If you're going to be like a fix-a-hoe, then you're going to get a shitty person. Does that make sense? I'm not saying that Brandon is a shitty person. I'm not necessarily saying that, but it. I know it's hard. I know it's so hard, but we are not supposed to fix our partners. That is above our pay grade. That's a therapist's job. It is our job to be supportive, to be there, to love them. You know what I mean? And I take this from like experience of like, I wish I could fix my boyfriend, but that's not my job. That's above my pay grade. I can't do that. So either you gotta be okay not being a fix-a-hoe, or if you're gonna be a fix-a-hoe, well, then wait, back up. She has to be okay. If you're gonna have someone who's a work in progress, you have to be okay to not try to fix them. Or don't get someone who's a work in progress. That's what I'm trying to say. It's exercise time with two teams. Egg crate and emotional eggs. Yeah, we just throwing some eggs around. If you catch one without it breaking, you have to express when you felt that emotion. So Nicole catches hers. One of the Nicoles catches hers, and she says hers was, I think, heartbroken. And she says she felt heartbroken from her ex-boyfriend in high school who kept cheating on her. Here, can I say something? Yeah, I barely remember the men I dated in high school. Some I didn't really take seriously. And I get it, it's high school, emotions are heightened and everything, but to continue holding on, and if it's Nicole V, she's 26, 27, to hold on to that at your big age, like, you know what I mean? To the point where, not to invalidate it, but it's just like, it's high school. You're not gonna marry the guy you dated in high school. Yeah, he's gonna cheat on you because he's a boy. You know what I mean? He's not a man. Even men cheat, but he's a boy. You know what I mean? He really is gonna be fucked. So I don't understand how any, like me, like I just said, I am 35 years old, officially. 35 years old. I have been the first time I was in high school was 21 years ago. Okay. And I, I dated a few men, boys, while in high school. Say really started in like grade 9, 10-ish. And no, definitely grade 9. And I barely remember them. You know what I mean? Barely. And I don't know if any of them or all of them or some of them cheated, to be totally honest. One for sure. Ooh, that fucker. One for sure. But I don't hold on to it. I don't. Ugh, it's done. Mind you, that's another story for another day, but I was 17, 18, and he was, oh, like in his early 20s, like very early 20s, and he was still a jerk. But anyways, that's besides the point though. I just don't understand holding on to your high school boyfriend who cheated on you a million trillion years ago. Not quite that much, but you see what I'm trying to say. So Avery gets jealousy, and she says, jealousy, it's hard to see Manny form other connections when in the real world you can remove yourself from seeing anything, which is fair. Red team, whoever that was, wins, and there's going to be some new people coming. So the first guy who comes in, his name is Corinthian. Corinthian, like the Bible book in the Bible. Well, that's Corinthians, but this is Corinthian. It's pretty much the same thing. Him and one other both live in the same place. I believe it was Zoe. They both live like in the Atlanta area. The next person is Kelsey, who lives in Nashville, same as Colt. No one is really locked in. Well, Colt's kind of is, with Angelique, obviously. And he's like, well, I wouldn't say I'm locked in per se. Sir, just a second ago, you were literally saying, didn't realize it was all in the same episode. You literally were saying that you don't have any eyes for any other woman except for Angelique. Angelique is like, I see Kelsey, and she is definitely his type to a T. He seems to be into blonde hair, blue-eyed girls. The new guy, Corinthian, pulls Zoe, but she does have her connection with Travis. Now, if you remember, it's been a minute for some people. Travis was Angelique's sneaky link. So obviously, that's a done thing because she's with Colt. So, Angelique talks to Kelsey. Just some girl talk, no big deal. She says, me and Colt have been locked in pretty much the entire time. So if a guy came in, Kelsey asked, like, if a guy came in, you wouldn't pursue that. I thought this was actually quite forward of her to ask this question because you don't know, like, what's been going on prior to you showing up. And you also don't know what kind of person Angelique is. You just met her. And you know what I mean? I thought the question when she asked it was so forward. I was like, oh, girl, I don't know if I trust you. Because she's literally saying, hey, like, him, he's mine. Okay? You can't have him, is basically what she's trying to say. And this girl's like, oh, but what if? You know what I mean? I could tell, like, it's not that I don't like Kelsey, I just don't trust her. More on that later. So Angelique answers by saying, like, not really. Um, and Kelsey's like, well, I don't want to be closed off. Well, obviously not. However, you're the new person coming in. Of course you don't want to be closed off. It's a little different with Angelique. But anyways, Avery and Nicole V, they're talking, comparing some notes on Manny. He essentially is telling the same thing to both of them, obviously. Nicole says, we had a good night, and he was all in on me, and they're just quite over it at this point. More on that in a little bit. Colt uh, calls Angelique. This is when they're, in the whole, like, at night. And he's going to sneak over to her to, whatever. Nicole S. calls Travis, and now she's sneaking over to him. This situation, again, let's remember, Travis is connecting with Zoe as well. This connection is triggering Angelique with the whole Kelsey thing, even though, like, nothing's really happened yet, but she's already getting triggered. But here's what she says. She says her ex from 2 years ago wanted to feel things out with another girl. She wanted to be a cool girl and basically let him. That, my girl, was your first mistake. If my boyfriend came to me and is like, I just want to try out, this girl that I'm talking to or whatever, I'll be like, cool, cool, cool. You can try her out. and I'm walking away completely. You want that? Then you don't get me. I'm not gonna let you try out some other girl, see how things go, especially when we have not talked about being in an open relationship, haven't had the conversation of, "Oh, let's try to see other people," even though we know it means breaking up. But it's just like there's been no conversation. And then he just randomly comes up to you and is like, "Oh, I want to feel things out with this new girl." The what the fuck? No, no, no. Mm-mm, that's your first mistake. However, I don't want to victim blame. But anyway, she let him, and then he ended up choosing the other woman. You see what I mean? First mistake. You have the writing was on the wall, but you just have to have the upper goddamn hand and say, "Good fuck off. Bye. Not today. Not today. Not ever." Anyway, Manny's going to go do some damage control with Avery and Nicole V because he fucked up. He's going to apologize to both women. So he talks to Nicole and Avery together, which I thought that was a choice. But maybe it was their choice. Who knows? Both him and Avery talked about exploring everyone else first, which I do not recall that conversation happening. Avery is like, "So you used me while she was figuring herself out. I feel stupid." Um, and she says, "I think you also made her feel stupid, meaning Nicole. I think you're more into Nicole than you are into me." But Nicole says, "I think you need to be honest with people, but I'm out. For now. This is short lived." And with that, he doesn't have any other connections. And he also said that he had intellectual conversations with Nicole, basically trying to say Avery's a goddamn fool. He's trying to basically say she's dumb. And I don't know if she's dumb, if she may come across that way of like, but I don't think it's dumb. I think it's just bubbly. She's a very bubbly personality, but that doesn't mean she's dumb. It just doesn't come across that way. I thought that was some bullshit. Anyway, he goes and he talks to the other people, and they're like, "Are you dumb? You gotta mend the fences. The hell is wrong with you?" Now we have a challenge. The new people were only guaranteed one night at the hotel. One. It is pretty much hinging on the other people to decide whether or not these people get to stay. So they both will be picking one person and have a massage with them. So Kelsey picks Colt. No surprise. Angelique is, "Why are you smiling so hard?" to Colt. Because he's really happy about this date. Let's be real. Corinthian chooses Zoe, and they both accept the date. So that's basically it. That's the challenge, y'all. The massage between Colt and Kelsey, because they're both doing massages, both these two people, good people. The massage between Colt and Kelsey is definitely sensual. I mean, they're talking about kissing and he's grabbing ass. And while she's massaging him, he's touching her leg. And then they kiss. When I mean kiss, I mean kiss, y'all. It's a lot. But that's the end of episode 4. We're gonna take a quick break. And when we come back, we'll jump in with episode 5. Patreon, going strong. If you want to go over there and join in on the fun, we got 3 tiers on Canadian dollars. First tier is $3 a month, where you get these episodes ad free. You also get AMAs once a month, or Learn About Me episode once a month. And then on the second tier, which is $5 a month, you get everything from the first tier, as well as coverage of a reality show of yesteryear. That's right now Jersey Shore. We're currently in season 3. You can also go to the main feed, where there will be the first episode of every season released there. So you can try that before head over to the Patreon. And then on the third tier, you get everything from the first 2 tiers, as well as coverage from a true crime documentary. We got the backlog of Ashley Madison documentary. Man with a Thousand Kids, Into the Fire, Lacey Peterson, and again, all those episodes for the first episode of each is in the main feed, so you can try that before you head over. So if you are interested, you can head over to patreon.com/reality tea times 2, and you can sign up for whichever tier you feel for. Again, you can try before you buy, which basically means you can try any tier for a week before committing to it. Even if you are on other tier, if you are on tier 1 or the first tier and you want to go over to the second tier, you could still try that second tier for a week before committing to the upgrade. So again, that is at patreon.com/reality tea times 2. And of course, the link is in the show notes, website, social media accounts. It's all available there. And I'm back. So let's jump in with episode 5. We left off with the little date between Zoe and Corinthian, Colt and Kelsey. And Colt and Kelsey are just really getting to know each other. So Zoe and Corinthian can see the whole thing, and it's a lot. And he says, it feels like we should be together. It feels so natural. This is what Colt is saying about Kelsey. And it's like, again, it was literally just 2 seconds ago. You're saying you're all in on Angelique. Okay. Then we see Zoe and Angelique talking after the date. And at first they're talking about her date with Corinthian, but then she says, I gotta say shit, brace yourself. When I looked over, they, meaning Colt and Kelsey, were making out. It was quite intimate. And Angelique, she's feeling used at this point. She thinks there's a way to build a connection without the physical stuff, which I would agree. And she said, just yesterday, she came to me and told me, I do not want to step on your toes. I do not recall her saying that. I recall her basically saying, I ain't going to get boxed in. Okay. I'm going to go and do me. That's that. And at this point, she's like, well, she sure the fuck stepped on all the toes. She stepped on my foot. She stepped on my leg. She stepped on my face. She stepped on everything. She stepped on everything. And she says, well, I'm done. We got a link low down now, y'all. Chairs. Chairs? Chairs? Who's chairs? I don't know what I wrote here. It obviously autocorrect, but I wrote chairs. I don't know who I'm talking about, but someone stands up. Um, she wants Corinthian to stay. Probably was Zoe. And so does Angelique. She appreciates his directness. She's like, I haven't had many connections here. Damn. Like, she had Travis. But anyways, she says she doesn't, it's definitely Zoe. She doesn't have any connections here. And then for Angelique, she says, I haven't spoken to him yet. And my boundaries were crossed today. And I think that I need to explore other connections. So he's saying, now we got to pick for Kelsey whether or not she's staying. So Colt, Brandon, and Logan, they all stand. Colt being the very first one to stand. Like he was like, bloop, he just stood up. And Angelique is like, damn, like he could have given it a minute, especially with like the other two were going to be standing up. Like he could have been like, and then stand, you know what I mean? Logan says he wants her to stay so it could free up time for him to speak to Angelique more freely. So he's really just using Kelsey's staying to distract Colt so he could swoop in and talk to her. So she also stays with that. And Colt says, I do want to apologize because I did kiss her. I want to see if the connection is there with her. Maybe it's nothing, but she feels sad and defeated, meaning Angelique. She was all in. She felt he was her guy. And she says to him, I had a conversation with Kelsey last night. And she says she didn't want to step on my toes. Again, we talked about this. I don't think she said that. But how they went through today was disrespectful. She didn't just step on my toes. She came from my neck. Just He put me in a race with another girl, and I will not be doing that. Kelsey says, I didn't mean to hurt you. And Angelique says, your lack of self-control tells me we wouldn't be friends. Because, like, you're not a girl's girl, basically. Well, why are you coming for me? Kelsey says, who doesn't have loyalty to you? It's him that has the loyalty to you. Here's my thing, and I talked about this with my experience with my ex-husband. Yes, his loyalty is to you because he's the one that's supposed to be looking out for you, looking out for your best interest and all that. It's not on the woman. However, when the woman knows that you are, in this case, booed up, or you're in a relationship with this person or whatever, and they're still pursuing that person in one way or another, yeah, it is on fucking you too. It just is. It's not about the loyalty. It's about the fact that you have absolutely no respect for me. You have no respect for yourself. You have no respect for the relationship. That you're going to continue pursuing something when you know that person is with me. Yeah, that's a problem. So I hate when women will do that. When you can only use that line when it's legitimate. Or, like, if the wool pull over your eyes or whatever, like, that's legitimate reason to be like, "I didn't do this. He did this to you." But when you know, shut the fuck up, bitch. You knew. So you coulda had the common decency to back the hell off, but you didn't. Now, this is a different situation. No one's truly locked down in this. They've only known each other for, like, a week and a half. But still. Just kind of, putting it out there. But Zoe says, Colt, you have more, that you could say here, and you're making Kelsey stand in the line of fire for you, which is true. My guy is just sitting there being like, like not saying anything. It's ridiculous. So after this, now he does say some bullshit that makes him look worse. He should have just not said anything. So after all of this, Angelique calls Colt to ask to speak to him. And then Travis calls Zoe to build that connection. She answers, your, oh, that's right. They have this kind of running joke thing that they keep doing every time she answers the phone. She's just like, I can't remember what she called the beauty shop or whatever. It's like, calling B, this is cutie. Brandon calls Avery. He's going to her room because it's cleaner. So Coles is with Angelique at this point, and she thinks that he should have had some self-control. Ma'am, have you met men? They don't have that. He realizes he was being selfish. Do you? She says, if you want to have more conversations with her, then I don't think we need to have more conversations, because I do not want to put myself in a situation to get hurt again. And I think that's fair. Here's my thing. Why wait for him to make that decision? He's already showing you that he wants to explore that with her. So get ahead, like I said, just like with your ex, who basically put the writing on the wall. You need to get ahead of that shit and be like, no thanks. It's been really nice knowing you. I'm good. you know? So Travis is thinking, I have a more stronger connection with Zoe over Nicole S. And he wants to be honest. So he tells her Nicole S. and she says, she has been sensing that. Okay, great. We're on the same page, I guess. Then we see Manny and Nicole V talking. He apologizes to her for his actions. Usually she would be like, block, on to the next. Thank you. Next. But here she says you can't really do that. So then we see Zoe and Corinthian talking. They're doing a 21 questions type situation just to get to know each other. I think it's smart. So We got the men doing a challenge. They are going to be cooking a meal for one girl that they are going to keep to themselves for now. They're not going to say who the girl is. Brandon is not a cook. He doesn't even know how to cut broccoli, which is insane because truly you can cut the broccoli any way you so choose, although there is only one right way. But you know what I mean? But Manny is definitely helping him with getting stuff done. The surf guy, because I didn't remember his name at this moment, Logan, made an avocado smoothie. Actually, he didn't make an avocado smoothie. He made avocado toast, which doesn't require cooking, I believe. And then he also made a smoothie. Not an avocado smoothie. Corinthian made a rasta pasta for Zoe, which I've never had rasta pasta. I don't know if I would like it. I love Italian. Obviously, I love my motherland food, obviously. However, I just never pictured quite a fusion like Italian and Jamaican, not with food anyways. So I don't know. But anyways, he makes a rasta pasta. She says it's good, and he says that he made this because it's his favorite dish. She likes pasta, and he dialed back on the spice because she does say earlier that she's not a spice person. Logan gave his to Angelique, and it was that avocado toast with the smoothie. The problem is that Angelique is allergic to avocados, so she can't even have the avocado toast. They actually have to make sure that the smoothie doesn't have avocados in them. Manny cooked chicken parm for Nicole V. She says it's good. This doesn't mean that she will try, again, but it's a good shot, she says. Brandon made burnt surf and turf for Avery, poor thing. Travis made soul it says made soul. I don't remember what that was. Anyways, he makes the food for her. He takes Corinthian's dish away and says, "She's done with it. It's fine. Like, here's the real food. She don't need that." Then Colt is next, and the weirdest fucking thing unfolds. He is struggling on who to give it to, but he does end up giving it to Angelique. He also put avocado in this dish as well, so she can't even eat this fully. But it has a twist. He also gives a dish to Kelsey, which was the tacos. They saw him making the tacos and saying was like his grandma's recipe. What the hell is wrong with him? I truly need the answer. Because I don't know how he thought this was a good idea. Nicole S. is the only one who didn't get a meal from anybody, but she's okay with it. We see Kelsey and Colt talking, and he is trying to explain his actions, but he just wants to play games, and these are hanging on. And I wrote that these women are hanging on longer than I ever would. Like, they're better than me. Kelsey doesn't want to force him into making a decision. And Colt calls Angelique, but when she answers, he doesn't say anything. So she hangs up thinking either there was an accident, but dial, which doesn't happen with handhelds. So she hangs up. And then she goes to bed. Zoe calls Corinthian and he has to be a pizzeria. She orders a medium pizza and he responds back with, "Oh, honey, we sell large over here." Okay, damn. So she goes to his room to talk. And we find out at the end here, though, that there's going to be a link lowdown and everyone will be picking the person they want to commit to. So, yeah. But anyway, that is where episode 5 ends. We're going to take a quick break here. When we come back, we'll jump in with episode 6. Hi, everyone. So I have a new product for you to take part in. This one is called Zelda merch. Zelda, like the video game. So, just a little bit about Zelda merch. So, they are the first store that is dedicated to the Legend of Zelda merch, and it stands out. At Zelda Merchandise, they specialize in delivering one of a kind, high quality Legend of Zelda merchandise that you won't find anywhere else. So, whether you're a devoted fan of Zelda, or you collect unique items, or you're just searching for the perfect gift for someone, I could think of someone myself who I could gift this for. Their exclusive products are designed to celebrate your love for the series. So they pride themselves in offering a diverse range of premium items. So you can get stylish apparel or stunning accessories to captivating home decor and collectibles. So what sets them apart is their dedication to bringing you rare and distinctive creations inspired by the iconic world of Zelda. So, from exclusive designs featuring your favorite characters and symbols to custom crafted treasures, you won't find this anywhere else. Everything in their store is made to amaze. So, these are different things that you can find. If you're interested, you can get exclusive designs inspired by Zelda's legendary world, premium craftsmanship at the best prices, unique creative products that elevate your fandom. So, they have weekly bestsellers. They have different rings that you can partake in. They also have Bluetooth controllers or Joy-Con chargers, Nintendo Switch carry cases, Zelda games, of course, and they have Switch card holders, different controllers that are obviously Zelda inspired, or you can go for the more merchandise type stuff. They have wallets, music boxes, phone cases, mouse pads, keycaps, purses, plushies, watches, mugs. I think I know what I'm going to be doing. I think I know what I'm going to be getting. A special person in my life who loves Zelda. They have mugs, alarm clocks, backpacks. They also have different jewelries, necklaces, keychains, earrings. I mentioned the rings already, or even just other fun stuff like puzzles, paintings, rugs, blankets, even bedding. They also have stickers if you want to go that route, or wall art, posters. You can also get things for someone's birthday, birthday themed Zelda, figures, lamps, Lego. I mean, the list just goes on and on. So if you want to partake in that as well as support the podcast, you can go to zelda-merchandise.com/reality2. So that again is zelda-merchandise.com/reality2 to partake in that. There is also a coupon code that will also be reality2 that you can also use at checkout as well to support not only Zelda merchandise, but as well as the podcast. And I'm back. Okay, so episode 6, it is the link lowdown time. We start with Manny. He says he's connecting with Nicole V. So Nicole V, what about you? She says that she does not feel the romantic feelings with him. She does feel like there isn't anyone she could connect with. So yeah, just in case I didn't mention it in the last episode, this link lowdown, they have to commit to one person. So that's what's happening here. So right now there is no one for either. We move on with Brandon. He says that he's connecting with Avery. Avery says that she wants to commit with Brandon. So there we go. We have that committed couple. Logan, what about you? He says he doesn't think he connected with anyone and does not want to force anything. So I think that's pretty good of him. Travis picks Zoe, and so does Corinthian. So they've both picked Zoe. But Zoe ends up picking Travis because that's, who she's been connecting with the longest. She says, like, if there was more time, Corinthian would have had a chance too. But, it is what it is. So is there anyone who wants to connect with Corinthian then? Nicole S, like, shoots her shot here and she's like, yeah, me. And he says he's open to exploring the connection. It kind of turns along a little that she kind of took the initiative. So, yeah. Angelique, I think, with no surprise, picks Colt, but so does Kelsey. But Colt, it's his turn. Who are you picking? He picks Angelique. Now, here's my thing. I know he's been obviously with Angelique the longest. I was actually surprised he picked her. I was actually surprised he picked her. The way those two connected on that day, him and Kelsey, I thought for sure he was going to pick her. But he picks Angelique. Is that the right decision? We'll have to see. So, anyone wants to connect with Kelsey, no one stands up at this, which I thought was really sad. And Jay looked very defeated. Then the people who are uncoupled, they do get to stay, which I thought was interesting. I'm like, why are they staying? But they do get to stay. Then Angelique calls Colt, but he's a little sad boy in his room, like immediately. It's like, you should be happy about your choice. He's not. In this moment, he is still on the fence. Even though he said he's committing to Angelique, he's on the fence. And he's thinking, I should really make sure that she's okay, meaning Kelsey. Plus, there are still feelings there. So, like, I don't know. I feel like this is episode 6. There are 10 episodes in total. I feel like it was too soon to commit, but maybe, it's a test or whatever. But I did think this was early to start committing, especially after you've just brought new people on. I think give it 2 link lowdowns, you know what I mean? But, um, so he ends up calling Kelsey. But she's not about it. As soon as she hears that phone ring, she's like, it better not fucking be him. But it was. He's rambling about the same shit that he's been saying this entire time. And she says, you said you got clarity because they've been talking a lot. And he's saying things like, I thought I had the clarity, or I think I have clarity. I think I don't want to pick. And obviously making it think that it's going to be her, which is why I thought it was going to be her. He wasn't having those kinds of conversations with Angelique. I think it's just human nature to think that, oh, you're telling me that you have clarity, so then it has to be me that's giving you the clarity. You know what I mean? So, anyway, she says, like, you said you had clarity, then you pick her, and he's like, I'm just trying to make sure you're good. She's like, well, I'm not. And she just hangs up on him. And because I have like those old school phones, the ones that like have to go onto the receiver, you actually get to do that. Bam! You get to do that. Like, bam! You can't do it with a cell phone. That must have felt good. It must have felt real good. Anyways, Travis calls Zoe and they're just having a very cute moment. Um, because they do like these very cute like phone calls. It's adorable. And he's like, I'm looking for a bull tamer. And this is Travis. He's like, this bull is quite active. Oh my god. She goes to the room and they have a very passionate kiss. I don't think they've actually kissed each other at all up until this point. So anyway, we see Colt going to Angelique. He does tell her, by the way, I called Kelsey. And Angelique is definitely thinking, like, what if this Kelsey thing isn't actually over? Spoiler alert. Why isn't like? Because I think she's trying to be respectful of the fact of okay, you have this conversation, but at the same time, why do you need to have the conversation? She's just, it's not fair to her, which is why I thought like pick Kelsey, because clearly that's who you're feeling the most. Doing this back and forth thing with Angelique is not fair. And that actually pisses me off, but we'll get to. Brandon and Avery are just awkward. I mean, honestly, Brandon has a great body. He's got an okay face. But I don't know. I don't see him connecting with anybody. To be totally honest, I mean, at this point, I'll say that I don't really see him connecting with anybody. Honestly, I felt like maybe Nicole S is the one for him, but I don't know. Anyways, we then see Colton and Angelique talking, um, having a serious conversation. I can't remember if this was like that night or the next day, but he oh, well, they're having like yeah, it's the next day. They're having a serious conversation about like what's this relationship gonna look like outside of here. He says he's tied to Nashville. And I don't think she's as tied to where she is. I think she's in Los Angeles. I don't think she's as tied there. He's religious. Whatever denomination he claims, he's religious. I think Catholic, because he was saying his mom is Mexican. Mexicans are usually very Catholic. So I think that's where he lies. She isn't. She isn't religious, although she was raised in religion. I don't think that's unusual. Like, I just don't. Um, I mean, I would say like I believe in a God, but I wouldn't say that I'm overly religious. Not, no, I'm not. Although yes, I was raised in religion. Um, Again, pretty similar to what I, mm, I can't say similar. It doesn't matter, but it, you know, I get her. I get her. So it appears that his parents didn't believe the same things, the same religions. And that's his biggest thing is like he wants to be sure that they are aligned with where they stand in religion, because maybe that could have been a subject of why they ended up getting divorced, which I think is very mature of him. To say like the thing is Colt comes across as a man who's in his 20s. He's 31. So, he's probably only like a few years younger than me. He comes across as very mature because he's right. I do think you need to have the same religions. I think, yes, you may date people who are different religions like I have. I've dated people that are Hindu, people that are Muslim, people that are just different denominations within Christianity. Um, and I think within denominations within Christianity, you can work with, um, especially if like, I think, yeah, I think you can work with that. Even if you are, different, you can work with that. But for him, I think he's thinking, okay, you're kind of like, I don't think she's atheist. And she's non-denominational, which is fine. And I still think you think that might be a problem. I actually don't think it is. For me, maybe for him it is. But for me, I'm thinking, if I were to be with someone, I'm not with someone who's not denominational. And I don't think I've ever really been with someone who is, that I knew of anyways. But if I were to use someone who was non-denominational, I would be okay with that. But that works for me, Like, I actually do wonder for Colt, like, you are religious, yes, but do you go to church? Do you partake in your religion? Because maybe then I can understand non-denominational may not work for you, because maybe that person doesn't want to partake in those things with you, and you want to be sure your children are also partaking in those things. And I get that. But I think if you're not, but you still have your religion and you still believe in your God, then yeah. Again, though, I don't know what her religion is. Whatever your religion she was raised in, it's not said. So I don't know, unless I missed it, but I don't think it was said. Yeah. So he says he doesn't want diverse children, and the opposite views is scaring him. So I think personally, this is an important conversation to have, yes, but I think he's looking for an excuse. I really do. Anyway, Corinthian didn't just say, I like a shooter. Yes, he did. Yes, he did. Because he's basically trying to say, I want a girl who shoots her shot. I like a shooter. Ew. Brandon is definitely thinking, I am fucked when it comes to Kelsey. And Manny, was it Brandon that said that? I think so. And then Manny is just waiting for it to explode so that he can have Avery back. Because Brandon is really into Kelsey a little bit, even though Kelsey is not reciprocating that. But he's supposed to be with Avery. Manny's like, I'm just over here twirling my thumbs, don't even try because I know that's just gonna blow up. I want my girl back. We have a challenge. We're going to be painting the soul of the other person. Obviously, the couples are going to be together, doing each other. Nicole V is with Logan. Just, it's fine. And Kelsey is with Manny. And by Colt's painting, interesting. It was interesting. It was weird. I hope she throws it out. Spoiler alert, we'll get to it. And there is going to be a winner for this, and that winner was Nicole S. and Corinthian. They get a candlelit dinner. I won't be talking about it. It was fine. Moving on. While the dinner date is happening, the others are playing Spin the Bottle. And it's like Spin the Bottle where they're going to be taking whipped cream, and like whoever they spin on, they got to take the whipped cream. Either the whipped cream is going to get licked off of the spinner, or it's going to get licked off of the sponge too, right? So Kelsey spins on Colt. She chooses to lick the uh lick it off of his abs. But then Angelique is like, the fuck? There were so many places she could have spun or chosen to lick it off because you could choose, and you chose the abs. So Angelique spins on Brandon, and she puts that whipped cream on her ass, baby. And that was kind of like kiss my ass, Colt. Like that. I saw nothing wrong, but Colt will. Let's get to it. So Brandon and Kelsey are talking, and people are bothered that Brandon is a little more flirty with Kelsey when he's alone. Even Kelsey's a little bothered by it because, like, you're acting like this isn't actually happening. Brandon denies it, but Kelsey is like, I am not going to be played a fool because you committed, or because you're complicated. How I look, sorry, because you complicated how I look earlier, but that was before we committed, he says. I'm not trying to pursue anything with Kelsey. Sure, sure, sure. Because it sure looks like you are. Nicole S isn't feeling the spark with Corinthian. She shot her shot, but there's nothing there. Then we see Brandon calling Avery, but then we see Avery with Manny. She's getting a little bit emotional with him. She feels like she can't trust anyone here because clearly now she's hearing that Brandon is kind of being flirty with Kelsey. And he apologizes for his part in her lack of trust, but she admits that she does have feelings for Manny still. So Brandon and Avery both say, so we are feeling other people, and we gotta be honest. So we're gonna see how that plays out. Colt is questioning Angelique's relationship is questioning whether or not Angelique is relationship material, or is it just a thing? You see, he keeps looking for an excuse. Here's the ultimate excuse for him. We'll get to it more though in the next episode. So we're at a link low down. So Griffin wants to explore that romantic connection with Nicole S. However, Nicole says that we had all the things. It was fine. Nothing wrong with you, but I do not see spark with him. And for him, like, this is the first he's hearing this. They didn't have a conversation, after the date, basically saying, no, thank you. You know what I mean? So at this point, we excuse the couples to go have some drinks by the pool. Y'all don't need to see this, basically. And you're thinking, like, okay, so these people are leaving, but everyone else, you stay because we got a conversation to have. We do have one last roll of the dice. We got more guests coming, and that's where we end episode 6, and that is where I end my episode. So the next episode will be 7, 8, 9. it finishes up. Um, and yeah, somewhere in there, you will get 90-day. Probably will be next week. I'll kind of double up, do 3, then maybe 4 will be separate. We'll see how it goes. And then also the single life tell-all will most likely be coming out next week as well with Letitia. That is the plan. We're recording that one tomorrow, Friday, so that will be coming out until next week. But yeah, that's basically it, y'all. That is it for this episode. If you liked what you heard, bear with me because I have not done an outro for the podcast in quite some time. So bear with me here. So if you liked what you heard, you can go to any of your favorite podcast apps. You can follow, make sure you don't miss a single episode. And you can also rate the podcast at either Apple Podcasts or Spotify. It'd be greatly appreciated. As a reminder, any 5-star ratings that are given to the podcast or any comments that are given to the podcast will be read on the podcast, which I have done in the past. If you want to connect with the podcast through social media, you can find me at Facebook and Instagram at Reality T times 2. You can also find me at Twitter, TikTok, and Blue Sky at Reality times 2 pod, I believe. You can email me at realityt times 2 at hotmail.com, and you can have any inquiries, anything like that, any ideas, any shows or episodes you want me to cover, you can definitely do that over there. And I am going back to our old website, and that is at solo.to/realityt times 2. There you can get any of the links to anything that I didn't mention here, any of the socials, website, email, all of that. It's all there for you. And we also have a new thing there where you can help support the podcast as well. It's called a tip jar. And you can tip whatever your heart's desire if you want to support the podcast, but don't want to necessarily support the podcast in going to Patreon, for example, or any of the links in any of the advertisements. You can do it there. But since we're on the topic of Patreon, you can head on over to patreon.com/reality T times 2, where there you can get access to even more than what I do here. There are 3 different tiers where you can get these shows ad free, as well as our next tier up where you would get another reality show that's being covered. So, we have Jersey Shore that's been getting covered. That's still being covered currently at the time of recording of this outro, but the future is bright with what's to come in the future, which I will be discussing, or I have discussed. I don't even know. And then also our next tier is a true crime tier as well. So you can definitely head over for that. But that is basically it. I will also just quickly mention here too, if you're interested in a different take of a podcast that I'm a part of, we do things a little differently. You can head on over to Next Take Podcast, where I usually drop bonus episodes here on this feed, but there you get a lot more. And that podcast is making changes. We're growing, doing new things, but you can definitely head on over there if you want to just hear a little bit different than what I do over here. So you can find that podcast over at our website, solo.to/next take podcast. And there we'll have all the links to your desire that will link you to any of your favorite podcast apps or YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all of it. Social medias, it's all over there. But of course, you can still find that podcast at any of your favorite podcast apps. But that is it for this episode. We'll see you next time with another episode. Bye, everybody.